Hi, this is Jacques Talk, and you're listening to Jacques Talk. This is a podcast where I talk about the Cowboys, the team I've covered as a beat writer, columnist, TV insider, and radio host for 28 years. I'll also talk about the NFL and the things I love, working out, streaming, food, and all things Dallas. Welcome to Jacques Talk, where sports is fluid. What's true today might not be true an hour, a day, or a month from now. I'm going to give you the truth straight, no chaser. Glad to have you aboard. Let's get it. Welcome to Jacques Talk. Episode 91. I'm Jacques Taylor, joined by my boy Big Joe in the Big Rig. What up, dog? What's the shit rep today?
We are 5x5, my brother.
Glad to hear that. I hope you guys are prepared to be entertained and dazzled for the next hour or so. 91. Who comes to mind?
Man.
Yeah, exactly.
Golly, I can't find nobody to play preseason, no season, somebody that got cut.
Okay, let me take a shot on the wild side. What number was Darren Benson?
Ooh. Damn, did he ever suit up?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Darren Benson, defensive tackle.
Was a defensive tackle who played at like some junior college.
Yep.
That the Cowboys drafted. He quit for like a day to be a roofer. Said it was too hot and tried to come back to camp. But that's Darren Benson. His name came to mind. I have no idea. Maybe LP Ladiseur was 91.
Oh, the long snapper.
Yeah, maybe he was 91. Darren Benson, 91.
Yeah. I think LP was the LP 91.
Some love for that.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Well, when you asked me for a sit rep, I was in the middle of thinking about 91 because I thought about 91 without Googling or anything. I was thinking, I got to know a 91. 91.
LP Ladiseur, 91.
Yep.
LP Ladiseur played 253 games for the Dallas Cowboys. From 2005 to 2020, he was the long snapper.
Yep.
He may be, I believe he is first or second in all-time games played for the Dallas Cowboys. He may be the least known guy in the record book for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, I knew who he was. Because he was the guy who snapped the ball when Tony Romo dropped it against the Seahawks.
I don't even know how to compartmentalize that one, but that was LP Ladiseur 91, Darren Benson 91. Not a lot of 91s who have a claim to fame with the Dallas Cowboys. I would like for you all to take a couple seconds right now to do two things. I know I'm asking a lot, but I appreciate it. Go to the YouTube channel, The Real Jacques Talk. Subscribe, like, review. We'd appreciate it. Then, why don't you take a second on your phone and download Clapper? It's a new app. It's kind of like TikTok. It's kind of cool. I do a lot of my Cowboys content on there. A lot of videos primarily. It's a different vibe for me than what I do on other platforms. And if you want some Cowboys hot takes, that's the place to go. We'd also like for you to follow the show on IG at The Real Jacques Talk. And you can find me on X, Twitter, whatever we're calling it these days, at JJT Journalist. And remember, if you think you follow me, you probably don't, because my account was hijacked, bamboozled, taken, stolen, all of that good stuff. I promise you we'll talk about it one day when it's safe. Until then, you can find me at JJT Journalist. I am Jacques Taylor is the handle. Remember, please, do this for me right now. Just stop what you're doing. Do this. Punch in your phone, 972-934-8900. You can thank me later. Real talk. That's the number to Greening Law. Now, if you're ever involved in a car accident or any kind of other accident where somebody else's negligence has caused you some harm, maybe it happened at the workplace, maybe it happened while you're out and about, but somebody else's negligence has created an injury for you, caused you some harm, medical malpractice, any of that, pick up the phone and call 972-934-8900 and simply say, hey, here's my situation. What do you think? And I'm telling you, if they bring you on as a client, like they did a listener of ours a couple weeks ago. It's a great day for you. Real talk. Why? They focus on you and they focus on your case. Meaning, they do all the stuff with your case, everything. So you can focus on two things and two things only. That's healing and renewal. They want you to get your mind right. They want you to get your body right. And then they want you to get your life back. That's really an emphasis for them. So, you need a doctor. They got you. Set up the appointment, you just show up and go do it. You need a specialist. They got you. Set up an appointment, go do it. You need a chiropractor. They got you. They set up an appointment, you go do it. All you focus on is getting your mind right and your body right so you can get your life back. That's really how they want you focused. Now, understand this. Have I mentioned money at all? Not one time. Not once. Why? The consultation is free. Nothing. Nada. Zip. Zero. Check this out. They don't get paid until you get paid. So you don't have to worry where you fit in on the priority report. Oh, I can't afford it. Big time lawyers. No. They want you literally focused on healing and renewal. So no, you don't pay anything until they get paid. Once they get paid, you get paid. So you're always at the top of the priority list. 972-934-8900 is Greening Law. Let them help you. Let them be a beacon, a light, a guide during what can be a really complicated, scary, intimidating process. Trust me on that. And like I said, y'all can send me a thank you note later. Well, man, the Dallas okay, before we call Todd Archer, I got to say this. I called Clarence Hill yesterday because he had me rolling. The Dallas Morning News, Michael Gelkin had a story yesterday that said, hey, and we're going to talk about it with Todd Archer. They said, hey, CeeDee Lamb might not be at the offseason mini camps because he does not have a new contract. He's entering the 5th year of his rookie deal. He doesn't want to play for the 5th-year tender without the extension behind it. That's not unusual. That's what all players of his caliber do. And so the Morning News wrote a story that said, hey, if CD doesn't have a new contract, don't look for him at the offseason mini camps, which are voluntary. Here's what Clarence D. Hill Jr. put on Twitter. He put a little paragraph that said, here's my story on CeeDee Lamb skipping minicamp that I wrote in February. So I called him up. I said, hey, man, why you go down and dunk and hang on the rim and throw your crotch in that man's face? And he said, who? I said, I'm not going to say no names, man, but you're trying to dunk on the man by saying your story came out in February. He trying to act like in April is brand new news. I said, that man is simply responding to his editors and trying to create some content for the slow time of the year. That being said, CeeDee Lamb probably will not be at any voluntary mini camps until he gets paid. And with that, let's give Todd Archer a call, see if we can catch up with Arch and see his thoughts on the national championship game and the controversy brewing with Micah Parsons.
Hello.
Top of the morning to you, sir. How are you?
All right. What's going on?
Not much, man. It's a great day. Hey, do you like going to the dentist?
I guess no, but I don't mind it.
Okay, that's all. Because I had a great dentist appointment the other day, and it reminded me that some people really dislike going to the dentist, my granddaughter being one of them. So that's why it came to mind. But that was the most pleasant trip to the dentist I've had in decades. That being said, now we got that out of the way. Let's move on to the more serious topics of the day. National championship game last night. I have a thought from it, but I want to hear your take on it.
The best team won. I mean, we said it the last couple of weeks. They can win however way you want to win. They can outshoot you. They can out-execute you. They can guard you like crazy. Their game plan, it was funny, like when Purdue beat NC State, I forget who was saying, it's like, Purdue's not going to get these threes because the way UConn's going to guard you, they're going to dig down on Jack Eddy and get back out and get a can in the face. They didn't dig down on Eddy, but maybe 10 times in the entire game.
Right.
And they just didn't. They said, "Go get yours. We're good with that. We're just not going to let anybody else beat us." And no one else beat them. I mean, it was Dan Hurley's got it going, man. I mean, he said it after the game. We have NBA players that buy into the bigger goals, and that's something special.
And I didn't want to segue too quickly from that. I thought it was just what you said. My thought was the way they played defense on the 3-point line, they didn't even let him get any shots off, really.
Right. I think they only took 8.
Yeah, and they made 1, which in today's basketball is really insane. And 2, I went in with a very open mind because I haven't watched a lot of college basketball. And I know Zach Eddy scored. Is it Eddy or Edie?
Edie, I think.
Edie scored 37 points. But I got to tell you, that was some of the. I don't know. I could see why people say there's really no spot for him in the NBA because he had a lot of close looks and he scored 37 points. So it seems like you're being like, well, damn, dog, what'd you want him to do? But it seemed like he missed a whole lot of shots at the rim during the pivotal stretch of the game, and he was lumbering a little bit to get up and down, and I was just like, I see why he's really good, but I also see why you could look at him and go, I don't know where you fit in the NBA where it's kind of a different game these days. What do you think?
Yeah, he's what did he sit for a minute in the national championship game before I guess they took guys out maybe at the end.
Yeah,
but
well, maybe that's why he was tired at the second half.
Well, and I think some of it is how UConn plays. Like they run you. It's not like they're Loyola Marymount run you and like on an average, 98 points that way. But they're sets. They just move you around and bang you around and get you tired. And that's what happened to him. Like in the second half, he had nothing left. And he came out in the first half and you could see that he was sucking wind pretty good. So, but as far as an NBA player, he's probably a 9th guy in a rotation, and you're playing 10 minutes a game because, like you said, it's how the game's being played. Like, there's a spot for him. There's gonna be he should be on a roster. He should be playing a role, but I don't think you'll see him playing a prominent role.
No, but now the flip side of he could do that for a long time.
Right.
Yeah, the big center from Wisconsin. I can't think of his name. He comes to mind. What?
Kaminsky.
Yes, he comes. That
but Kaminsky could shoot.
Yeah, he could.
Kaminsky could face the basket. He's not a face the basket guy.
I'm talking about the playing career, just having a role. Yeah. Kaminsky got a role. Yeah, he can. He is a stretch player, but yeah, it just reminds me of how long that guy is.
No Diddy.
Bro, you tripping?
What did he say?
He talking about you know Jacques wears stuff out. He talking about no Diddy.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, he making everything.
If you don't make yourself laugh, who's going to make you laugh?
Yeah.
Now we moving on very quickly before Joe can say something else. And then the last thing I wanted to say, man, I understand you kind of got to ask the question, but it seems silly to me. UConn has won 6 national championships since 1999. Was that 6 in 24 years? And they do it their way, and they got their own culture. They got their own deal. They're one of the basketball blue bloods. I never thought for a second he would consider going to Kentucky. And he pretty much shut that down last night, and I don't think it was just lip service. Did you see a shot for him to go to Kentucky? And how good a job is Kentucky these days?
It's still the best job. I mean, to be honest, it's the biggest job in college basketball. You run a state, all that kind of stuff. It's a great job, but it's not like the way these guys are paid nowadays. It's not like they all got to jump and get to that job to make life-changing money. And it's not just about money. I don't mean to go down that path, but he's an East Coast guy. Like, and as much as you can view, well, Cal was an East Coast guy, grew up in Pittsburgh, UMass, coach of the Nets. Cal also went to Kansas. Cal also, moved around a little bit before he became Cal. So it's not like I think the times have changed to when if these certain schools call you, you go. I
Right.
don't think that's the case as much anymore. And that's probably one difference in college basketball to college football, because you have to be at an Ohio State, a Michigan, a Texas. Why did I mention Texas? Alabama. You have to be at those kind of schools to really have a chance. Whereas in basketball, you can be in Stores, Connecticut, and win a national championship. Like, I know you've never been to Stores. There's nothing in Stores. Like, there's nothing. They're really. I mean, it's the college campus. Like, there's no. I mean, there's. Yeah, I mean, and so
How far is
Jim
that
Calhoun.
from? How far is that from ESPN's campus in Bristol? I mean, like
I'm always
30
bad
minutes,
with that
an
stuff.
hour,
It's
an hour and a
no,
half?
it's not. Yeah, I would say it's 40 minutes,
Okay.
45 minutes, maybe.
So it's still a little bit.
It's like
ways.
yeah, it's you got to go through Hartford to get down there.
Okay.
It's like an hour and change from Boston, and it's maybe not that far from Hartford, but not like it's
Down the street.
yeah.
All right.
But I mean, it's the fact that the women's and men's teams are so good. It shows you like how it's about the programs and not necessarily about the locale. Because heck, if it was about the locale, Pepperdine would be the best college basketball team in the country.
Bro, that is some truth right there. One last thing. Who do you think gets the Kentucky job?
Did Billy Donovan say no yet?
You know what? I don't know. I have not heard that he said no yet.
I know he
I
was
guess-
like kind of done with the college game when he left Florida because of the recruiting and blah. And now it's probably
That's worse.
the case can be made that it's worse. But now you're legally paying players, so maybe it's better in some respects.
Right?
So, man, Billy Donovan makes a lot of sense. He was an assistant there way back in the day.
You like Bruce Pearl?
No.
Is that because he's
No.
kind of slimy?
Well, no. I mean, if you're actually, I like Mark Pope, played at Kentucky, BYU coach. They all know him, that kind of thing. He's a good coach. He's done a good job at BYU. Iowa State guy, he's a good coach. The one guy I don't want to see take it, although I can, this would fall under the how does he say no, is Sean Miller from Xavier. If he goes from Xavier to Kentucky, I wouldn't want to see that, but
Yeah, that'd be
as a Xavier fan.
Right. No, I got you. Well, that's our college basketball fix for today. We like to have Archer do
There we
that
go. Yeah.
because he's good at it. Now on to your Dallas Cowboys. CeeDee Lamb, according to, and I haven't read you, so you may have already written something about this, or maybe you wrote it in February when Clarence Seals says he wrote it. But CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gelkin of Dallas Morning News says we shouldn't expect to see CeeDee Lamb for these off-season workouts. That wouldn't necessarily surprise me, considering he wants his new deal. What's your take?
Yeah, I mean, it's voluntary, so it's not like he has to be there. He has been throughout his career attended most of them, if not all of them. I know when we've been allowed out there, he's been out there. It's just kind of part of the negotiation game that has to happen. But not everybody follows that path. Like Dak showed up to the offseason stuff when his contracts were up. Maybe it's a little different as a quarterback and things like that.
I always feel it's different as a quarterback to me.
Right. But, obviously we didn't see I think we didn't see Zeke at training camp. I think we did see Zeke in the offseason stuff, but he didn't show up at the training camp. Obviously, Zach Martin last year didn't go to training camp. That was a true holdout. You can't really hold out of something that's voluntary, so this wouldn't be a holdout. This would just be kind of doing your own thing. We know that Dak has guys over at his house in his backyard throwing and running routes, so I'm sure they'll continue to do that. The bigger issue I have with all of this isn't necessarily if CD shows or doesn't show, or any of these players show or don't show. It's that the Cowboys have not altered their approach to getting their own guys done. They say they want to get them done all the time, but it always seems to have to be on their terms. And I get it. Like, there has to be give and take, and you're not just going to negotiate for the sake of negotiations. But we're not hearing of any real talks with any of these guys. Why is that? Like, why not? I hate when, Jerry Stevens like, you don't want to be the person who's making the first call. Well, if you don't make the first call, then no one's calling. And then what do you have? You're stuck in a situation where you're down to deadlines on these things, and that gets contentious, and you end up either doing the wrong thing or doing nothing. We've said it before. Back in the day, they seemed to be able to get these deals done. Players seem to be more cooperative maybe than even their agents wanted them to be, whereas now guys aren't that way, and the Cowboys haven't adjusted their approach. At some point, you got to adjust your approach.
Well, they've always been big on the whole deadlines make deals, and I've always been more like, it takes two to tango, but you can start the dance if you want to by giving what is like right now, ballpark, what is going to take to sign CeeDee Lamb.
Right.
Like, really, ballpark. It's going to take somewhere around $30 million in terms of average salary. It's going to take somewhere. You can look at the guarantees between what kind of Devontae Adams got, which was somewhere around like 28 or 30 million. Tyreek Hill, 52 million. Somewhere in that ballpark is a guaranteed number. You could start it off with 37 or something, and just go, hey, here's 5 years, $30 million a year, 37 guaranteed. What do you think?
Well, 37 guarantees way too low, isn't it?
Well, I don't know. I was trying to figure out Tyreek Hill got 52 guaranteed. So okay, fine, 40.
Right, but that was a different kind of deal, though, right?
Right. That's why I said. That's why I said what I said. Like Devontae Adams,
like his guarantee was his Tyreek Hill's total full guarantee was. All right, let's go total guarantee. 72. Devontae's was 65. Cooper Kupp's was 75. Like, yeah,
what's the difference between fully guaranteed and total guaranteed?
Fully guaranteed is I sign my name in this piece of paper, and I'm getting this money whether I play it down or not. Total guarantee is on the fifth day of the league year in 2097, this money becomes fully guaranteed. So, like, agents like to call that effectively guaranteed.
All right.
Even though it's not guaranteed.
Right.
But
it's really more of a trigger to make sure that you don't screw me and hold me to the end of training camp.
Right. Yeah.
Now, let that be a lesson to y'all that as long as I've been doing this, you can still learn a little something every day. So based off of that new information that I had, so somewhere between, let's just do the total guarantee like you said. So it's 5 years, it's $30 million a year, which is $150 million in the ballpark, and 70 guaranteed. You could start there, or 60 guaranteed if you want some wiggle room. You could start there and have a meaningful conversation.
Right.
But you can't have a meaningful conversation if you say, hey, what do you think about 5 years at $24 million and 39 guaranteed? Because then they're just like, what are you doing, man? I mean, stop with the BS. And to me, the Cowboys do a lot of that early, if they do it at all. Whereas you can start the dance whenever you want to, and say, hey, here's a legitimate offer, we're interested, and then you can begin the back and forth, and it doesn't take nearly as long to get it done because again, you're just slotting guys for the most part. Now, what is the answer, Arch, if you say, well, we want to wait for Justin Jefferson to set the market?
And that's where I was just going to go. Both these guys, CD and Justin Jefferson, are just staring at each other saying, you going to go? You going to go? Like, I'm not going to go. You go. So basically, then let's say the first one gets 31 average per year, highest paid average salary for a receiver. Well, the next guy's going to come in at 31-1. So for 2 weeks, you can say you're the highest paid guy, and then the other guy will say it. At the end of the day, does that really matter? Like, aside from ego, which all these pro athletes have, obviously, they wouldn't be great if they didn't have an ego. How much, like, we aren't in their world. We're of their world. Like, to me, that fine. I'm the highest paid receiver for 2 weeks. Cool. Like, I got my money. I'm good. Like, but for those guys, sometimes that does matter. So I think there's a bit of a staring contest between those two. And look, maybe we need to think more of, if you're Justin Jefferson, do you want to re-sign in Minnesota when you have no idea who your quarterback is? If you're CD, do you want to re-sign now with the Cowboys? Not sure if Dak is going to be back here beyond this season. I don't know how big of a deal that actually is when you factor in the money that both these guys are going to make. But maybe it is an element of it. But I just, like, this is why I'm the world's worst negotiator when it comes to car, house, even the stuff with ESPN or even the morning news back in the day, because I'm more of hey, just be fair to me, and if you hit this, I'm good. We've talked about, like, certain players would say, hey, if you just get to this number, I'll sign. I'm good. And then you can magically figure out a way to get to that number.
I looked him up right quick. CeeDee Lamb, 395 catches. Justin Jefferson, 392. CeeDee Lamb, 5,100 yards. I'm rounding this off. 5,100 yards. Justin Jefferson, 5,900. CeeDee Lamb, 32 touchdowns. Justin Jefferson, 30. How about this? CeeDee Lamb got 43 carries and 300 yards. Justin Jefferson's only got 12 carries and 30 yards. So, they're effectively the same guy. They're both terrific receivers. I think they may have even both been All-Pro last year. Both got 3 Pro Bowls. Justin Jefferson been All-Pro 3 times. CD's been it twice. So their contracts are going to be almost identical when they sign it. So again, it's if the Cowboys want to get it done, they can start a legitimate conversation, in my opinion.
You just have to, like, to me that the first number of the average per year has to be a 3. That's the first number. Like, what are we doing here? Like, and again, are the Cowboys intent on signing their guys or winning the deal? And when you get to these kind of contracts, how much winning are you really doing? Bro. Like, and to me, I think, like, for the Cowboys, the most important part of a contract for the Cowboys isn't the average per year. It isn't the cash layout, and maybe cash flow. You can kind of get into that mix, but Jerry's the second wealthiest owner in the NFL. I'm sure cash flow. I'm sure he'll find some money pretty quickly if he needed to. To me, it's the length or the structure of the deal. That's always been something that the Cowboys have wanted, which is why the hang up on Dak's first contract was the Cowboys wanted 6 and Dak wanted 4 and yada, yada, yada. 6 years or a 5-year extension or a 6-year deal, however you want to look at it, kind of matters because it gives the Cowboys effectively 2 years of salary cap flexibility to restructure that contract in the following year and not, and allow them to move money around and keep guys and blah, 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 blah. So if you're a CD, and how old CD? Like 25?
Yeah, I believe he's 25.
He's pretty young, right? Yeah. So, like, would CD want a 6-year deal and then not hit the market again until he's 31. Well, hell no, he wouldn't want that deal. Now, would CD want to be a deal, and he's going to be 29 when he hits the open market? Yeah, he'd want that one. So I don't know if they don't bend on that and the Cowboys don't bend, and then it's almost like they just say, well, why don't we bother talking? We're just wasting our breath.
Yeah, but see, even that, man, and CD just turned 25 yesterday, April 8th.
Oh,
but see, even then, man, I'm always of the note that, okay, fine, you want 4 and I want 6. 5 seems to be the optimal meeting point. You hit these numbers, and that'll trigger avoidable or something. I mean, we can always negotiate that out if, again, everybody's serious about getting a deal done.
right.
And, silly me, I don't deal in millions, although I wish I did. When I have business dealings as part of the JJT meeting group, I tell people all the time, if you want to, I say, I want to get it done. If you want to get it done, let's make it happen. What do we need to do? Because it ain't really that complicated at the end of the day. If both people are like, come on, let's get it done, make it a win-win. And maybe that's the problem. Everybody ain't trying to make it a win-win. The agents is trying to win for the player, and the team's trying to win for the team. And
I'd make the argument the agent's trying to win for the agent's trying to win for the agent.
Yes,
because he's thinking about the next contract that he's got to negotiate. Where if you quote do a quote bad deal, which wouldn't be a bad deal, but a deal that people would criticize, and then they use that against you, and you won't get the next receiver down the line that'll be a big time guy.
That's a great conversation for another day, because I really do believe too many players forget that the agent works for them. But at the same token, I hired you to do a job, go do the job, and you don't tell me how to catch passes, I won't tell you how to negotiate deals. But I think more players should be, and maybe they do, and I'm just not aware of it. Like CeeDee Lamb should be, hey, Mr. Agent, I want $30 million, and I want this much minimum, this much guaranteed. Go make it happen. And that way, he's you're giving him some parameters to work with. And then I think you may have to be, I don't know, man. Because I was like, well, then maybe you got to be involved, make sure he's putting the right numbers out there to the team. Because ultimately he's doing what he wants to do. So,
right. And that's, we've talked about, like, Scandrick was a guy who had a certain number in mind that he wanted to get, and he got it, and the deal got done. Like,
yeah.
How involved are you going to be in this? It's not like you need to have a agent's license to figure this stuff out either.
Dude, you literally can just go look at overthecap.com.
Right. I'm just saying from a player's perspective, like, don't be confused if a guy is telling you, well, it's this and then it's this and then it's this. Like, it's not. So then they just get glossy eyed and tired head over it and said, nah, I'm out. Yeah, you just do what you got to do, man. Like, this is your livelihood on what you want to do. I'm not saying you got to be in every minute of every negotiation, but you still should have a working knowledge of what's going on, and as opposed to just saying, well, I just let my agent handle that. No. Do you just let your real estate agent handle your house? No, you're involved in the process and understanding what this offer is and that offer is and why this one might be better than that one. It's not like you're just saying, well, we'll take your word for it. You know what I mean? It shouldn't. No one should work that way.
Right. No, I like that.
Now, at some point, you got to say, well, they are the trained professional and yada yada. And if they can explain to you why this is better than that, then you can make an informed decision. But it's not like you should just blindly follow and not have any kind of involvement in the process.
No, this is true. Micah Parsons, as I shift topics here. Now I heard this on the flagship station that there's some discontent with him in the building, but ironically enough, I had heard that from a couple people. Literally 2 days earlier, we were having a conversation about it. Because you know me, man. Whenever I hear somebody they don't like Micah Parsons or they don't like any player, the first words out of my mouth are, "Well, give me an example of that. I need something more than they just said they don't like it." And this person gave me an example, and the other person gave me a different example. I said, "Oh, well, there's something to that." I said, but I don't know that you need to like him if he can
Right.
play. And so, go ahead. Like I don't think
No,
people like
well-
Lawrence Taylor, or Charles Haley.
Right. And I think we can find these are big organizations, right? And now for the Cowboys, there's 3 people. I guess I'll throw the head coach in. There's 4 people that matter: Jerry, Steven, Will, and the head coach.
Right.
But we can find people at any level of the organization in any position that touches the player, and find somebody that doesn't like somebody. And now I would say the one guy that you will not find anybody say a bad word about, like personality wise, and is Dak. Like he is above reproach over there. Now, from the playing position wise, I'm sure that we can find people that would say, yeah, he really doesn't do this as well, and we thought we'd have more development here and da. But you can find people in any organization, in any sport, on any team that you've covered over the years, to find something, to say something about a player that might be unflattering. The key is, if you're going to write that, is do what you did and tell me what that is, and cite the example of, well, he's late to meetings, he doesn't show. And I'm not saying that's Micah. I'm just using examples. He's not a good teammate because he doesn't. He's pointing fingers in the meetings. Whatever you want to say, we can find people. But then I talk to 2 other people who say, well, I don't know where you're getting that. Every time I've been around him, he's this, and this, and this. So that's the tricky part of trying to report things out and knowing who has an agenda, who might not have an agenda, who has an agenda one way or the other, like anti-player or pro-player. So there's always elements of truth in things that are said about players. And then when it comes to the Cowboys, if it doesn't bother Jerry, it don't matter.
Well,
right?
Man. I think there's a lot of truth in that. The other thing is, you have to always remember, there are people. Now, Arch and I worked together probably 15 years or somewhere in that ballpark. There are people when we worked at the same places where we would be like, "Can you believe this dude, bro?" And you would be like, "No, bro, I can't believe this dude." So there's always people at your job, whether you work at a trucking company, whether you work at a newspaper, a magazine, an office building. There's always people at your job you don't like. That's not even unusual. I mean, there's very few jobs where 100% of the people get along 100% of the time, because people have different personalities, people have different work approaches. Some people are type A, some people are more laid back, some people are micromanagers. I mean, so the fact that somebody doesn't like somebody, or somebody does something, or somebody's got privileges because they're the best salesman or the best reporter or the best football player, that don't surprise me. I mean, it's all just kind of part of the deal.
And that's why I don't, to bring it on to a different element of when people talk about chemistry and those sort of things, I'm just like, no, it matters. But I don't think it's the overarching reason why teams win. And Jacques, you were around towards the end of the era. I obviously wasn't around here. I've talked to enough people around those 90s Cowboys teams that said that a large portion of that team couldn't stand each other. And there were certain guys that no one liked and certain guys that they just stayed away from and ignored and da-da-da. But they were the best team. That was the team of the decade in the 90s.
Yeah.
Why were they so good? Because they were the baddest MFers going. That's why. And they all put that crap aside on Sunday.
Easy killer.
I said MFers. 16 letter. What? How many cuss words?
Yeah, he say 17 letter? Or something. I don't
12,
know.
Man.
22 letters, 17, 13.
That would have been a 13 letters right there.
Yeah. I don't know.
Because you put the S on it.
Yeah. You made it plural.
Yeah, exactly. But see, here's the deal. You had all those, some of them, well, let me say it like this. Clearly, a bunch of different types of personalities in a group. And if you just said Charles Haley, Michael Irvin, Emmitt Smith, Troy Aikman. Those are four very disparate personalities, as disparate as you could get. Yet, for the most part, they had one thing in common. They all practiced at a certain level. So no matter what our differences were otherwise, when it came time to practice and work, we had the same mindset. And that's why that's amongst the reasons those teams were really good, because they had the same mindset when it came to the work.
Well, the leadership, too. Leadership was, with Jimmy galvanizing the troops right there.
Yeah.
That's got a lot to do with it, too.
So, now that being said, I have one more thing I'm going to touch on about that. With that being said, have you heard the stuff about Micah? And whether that's enough of an issue for it to matter other than just conversation for the offseason?
It's not fair to say if I've heard some things, because if I've heard some things, I would have reported. Right. Yeah. So, I mean, you hear some things, but it also comes to the level of does it? Report. Right. So
now, let me tell you. See, that led to another question, another conversation.
If that's a cop out, that's a cop out. But it's just the way you're supposed to do the job, right?
It's the difference between reporters, people who think that it's the difference between badass reporters, people who think that they're reporters, and people who have no clue about reporting but think that they do. Because I heard one of the most fascinating conversations the other day on the way to the gym. And it was between the guys on the flagship station discussing their sources and how they go about determining whether they report something or not. And it was Sean and RJ, the I don't know what you call them, the morning team over at the Fan, and Bobby Belt chimed in, and then they brought in a name from the past of discussing something, and it was Mike Fisher. And it was fascinating to just listen to the back and forth go back, because none of them except Fisher has ever been employed by a newspaper full time or covered a beat. So to listen to their standards of reporting was very interesting. And as I like to say, in some cases, it's not good or bad. It's just what it is, because, radio talking heads have a different job than beat reporters who have a different job than columnists. But they said that Mike Fisher said, I'm paraphrasing, this is the ultimate hearsay. They said that he said this, that if a source tells you something, it's not your job to verify whether it's true or not. It's just your job to put it out there because that's what somebody is thinking. And I go, what?
Wow.
I mean, that's what, because I was like, that doesn't
So
make
if anybody
any sense.
has an axe to grind about a certain situation,
exactly,
just go with it. I don't think so.
That includes that. I mean, yeah, that sound of incredulous you hear was me, like while I was driving to the gym, going, "Really?" And then one of the other guys, and I can't remember which one it was, so I'm not going to put a name on it. One of the other guys was like, "Well, if somebody tells me something, this was the tricky part." He said, "If somebody tells me something critical about somebody, well, I bring it out here and I say, well, some people in the building think da 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 da." And my thought was, but only one person told you that. So
right.
It can't be some people. It can only be a person. And it's okay if a person tells you something, but you have to say a person. You can't say some people and make it seem like it's a whole bunch of people if it's just one person. And then, who is that person? I used to tell people all the time at the morning news, you want to know who my sources are? If there's just one source, it's probably Jerry or Steven. You can guess which one. It's either one or the other because it's only one source. So if it's one of them two, you don't necessarily need to verify because they're the top of the food chain. If it's not one of them, then you got to have multiples just to make sure that you're on the right track. But, just to hear them go back and forth on sourcing and how they go about putting stories out on the radio was truly fascinating, bro.
I watched the interview between two former NFL players, one Hall of Fame tight end and one dancing ass wide receiver that played for Cincinnati. And they were saying something about Michael Parsons having problems and it being a contract ploy and all of that. And I've been around reporters. I've been around your ass, Jacques, long enough to know that this they just running with something. They just Michael Parsons is worn thin. He's wearing out his welcome in Dallas, and I'm going, okay, what is he doing and who said it? See, as somebody that's been kind of listening to the way you do things all this time, I'm going, well, who said that? They never said who said that, or they never said what it was that Micah was doing. So it's a nothing story to me, where it might be sensational to somebody else, and then the theory that the Cowboys are waiting till his third year or whatever to say, to before they extend him to try to cost them less money to put rumors out. They was kind of trying to say like the Cowboys was leaking the rumors, and I thought, yeah, that's stupid.
Well, this is always interesting to me.
I will say, I'll say that, like, maybe I just suck, but I've never had one. I've never had anybody for the 20 years I've been covering the Cowboys. I've never had somebody over there in a position of power call and tell me, "Can you please write this so the cost of this player's contract will go down?"
Yeah.
Again, maybe I just suck, and they don't want to deal with me in that manner. But like, if the Cowboys are using the media to disparage their guys, then they're doing a terrible job of it, because then they end up paying those guys more than what they have to anyway.
Yeah. Well, as a fan, you have to recognize sensationalism and watered down media. When them guys ain't never around. It's like when Shady McCoy says stupid shit. What you talking about? You ain't even here. You don't talk to nobody in the building, but you saying all this stupid stuff. And then when he finally got here, he kind of avoided, talking to people head on. I don't know. It's just one of them things where in this day and age where everybody got a podcast and everybody is doing a show, and they start saying matter of fact stuff like that, and like it's matter of fact and stuff. It's just fans got to watch out for that. I don't believe that bullshit anyway.
All right, easy killer.
Wait a minute, I can't say MFers and you can drop BS on me. What are we doing?
There's levels to this. MF is like, that's like at the top. Then,
top of the food chain.
Bullshit is like bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Bullshit is like, And then, we got the parrot over there. He gonna repeat everything. He done did me twice. He done dropped my easy killer. Jacques like I do, Jacques. But anyway.
The interesting about all that, man, is that that's why I say it's important to understand. Even if you're a casual fan, you just have to understand what you're watching. Are you watching a debate show where they're supposed to get you riled up and it doesn't really matter what they're saying? They just look for topics to debate. But the people who know what's going on around the Dallas Cowboys or any pro team are the beat writers who are there every day. There's like 4 or 5 of them in Dallas. And then, you have some other people who may know something. You have a couple of national guys who know things, whether it's Adam Schefter, whether it's Jay Glazer, because they're connected to coaches or Jerry. And so you can figure that out. But outside of that group of 9 or 10 people, like if Shannon Sharp or Chad Johnson say something, they can say whatever they want to say. But if you really want to know if it's true, you just Google the topic. Michael Parsons. Oh, the beat writers ain't chimed in yet on it? Well, it ain't that big a deal yet.
Well, on this show right here, we got about 80 years of experience.
Yeah. So that's part of the charm of it.
That just means we're old.
Nah, just come on. If you don't hear it on Jacques Talk, it ain't.
Yeah, see,
it ain't right. It ain't.
He was just giving you a promo there, Jacques. Well, he just gave you a promo.
That's what it is. That's what I'm saying. If I don't hear from Todd,
I like
if I don't hear from Chill, if I don't hear from Jacques, with y'all old asses, hey, what is it then? We ain't talking about Micah being, wearing his welcome out. We talking about the rumors of it, but that's why I look at it. If you don't hear from us, it ain't probably ain't true.
So it's so I think the interesting thing with Michael Parsons is just, will he be there for the first day of voluntary workouts? Last year he spent, to my knowledge, most of the offseason working out in Austin on some very various bunch of techniques things or technical things. But then at the end of the season he was talking a little bit about chemistry and leadership. So if that's the case, then he should probably be there when voluntary workouts start.
Right. And that's, when he talked about all the accountability things and stuff like that, if you are going to make that step and become a vocal, do as I say leader, then you have to be there. Voluntary or not, you have to be there. And look, we can name whoever we want to say the best leaders have been over the last 25 years in this team. They were around.
Yeah.
And not necessarily even vocal guys necessarily, but they were around. And, probably just bring it back to CD, because we're saying it's no, I think I was hinting at, like, it's no big deal if you wouldn't be around for the OTAs. I think when business gets involved, it's like what McCarthy says, when he understands the business side of it and he doesn't get really involved with it with the players, because they have to do what's best for them. CD's at a moment now in the second contract, he has to do what's best for him. And if he doesn't show up, I don't think it means he's a bad guy or he's not thinking about how to make himself better in the offseason. I don't think we've ever once questioned CD's work ethic or want to or desire to get better. I think there are times where the only remedy that these guys sometimes have when it comes to a contract is withholding your services, even if it's a voluntary offseason program. You could maybe even have a hold in where you show up, but you're not going to do anything on the field, and any of those kind of drills, but you're still getting your workouts in.
Seemed like Zach Martin did that last year. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah, and Zach did have a little bit of a calf thing, he said. I'll take him at his word for that. But but obviously when training camp started, he wasn't around, and he held out and eventually got what he wanted. So it's funny, again, back to the Cowboys contract discussion things, like, if you just wait, you're eventually the Cowboy. Dak got what Dak wanted. Zach Martin got what Zach Martin wanted. Zeke with his holdout. Now the counter that you sometimes hear from inside the Cowboys is the contract that Zeke signed was really almost the same thing that he could have signed in whenever the heck, the starter training camp or something like that. So again, who knows what's true and what's not true, but it does seem if you wait it out, the best thing, it's going to work out for you, which is why I think the Cowboys, and what we talked about before, have to alter their approach and how they get these things, or in trying to get these things done, because just saying it's a benefit of playing for the Cowboys that you don't have anywhere else isn't a message that's resonating anymore. And there's only so many pieces of the pie to go around isn't a message that's resonating anymore. You got to come up with a different message, and figure out how to get these things done, as opposed to just waiting for a point of no return on, we got to use franchise tag. Like, he can already, it's Stephen Jones, and I'm writing something about it here. I don't know when it's going to go, but Stephen Jones calls it a good problem. And it is a good problem because you're drafting good guys. Right. And they deserve to get these big contracts. But guess what? It's still a problem. Right?
Yes.
So figure it out. Easy for us to say.
Yeah, easy. Arch, we always appreciate you, man. Thanks for the college basketball conversation.
Yeah.
And get back on the Peloton. We'll talk to you
Appreciate
soon.
you, Todd.
Next week, let's talk some drafts.
And Todd,
the draft.
Before you get out of here, Todd, you don't suck.
Yeah.
You don't suck. And you're a bad. Can I say you're a bad MF? Yeah, you're a bad MF, Todd.
I appreciate it.
There you go.
All right.
Later.
See you guys.
Bye. That's my guy, Todd Archer. One of my boys. Brought to you each and every Wednesday by Smokey John's Barbecue, 1820 West Mockingbird. The food is to live for. Seriously, it's 5 minutes north of downtown. Go to Smoky John's. The catfish, outstanding. I've had 3 people in the last week tell me that the catfish is fire, as we like to say. Whether you put some Cholula, Louisiana hot sauce, or anything else on it, it's terrific. Matter of fact, it's a throwback to the past. It's a Matt McLaren favorite, the catfish. But, the whole menu is good at Smoky John's Barbecue. It's soul food. It's Southern style cooking. It's fantastic. It is to live for. Now, we always tell you, if you're going to go there, go get the Jam Session Bowl. It's on the secret menu. And if you listen to the show, then you know about it. If you don't, then you don't. And that's your fault. But if you listen to us, just swing by there. You ain't even got to think about it, man. Just roll in, speak confidently. I want the Jam Session Bowl, and I guarantee you this will happen. I guarantee you this will happen. As they start to prepare it with either macaroni and cheese base or mashed potato base, and then they put those meats on it, 2 out of 5 smoked meats, your choice. I rock with the brisket and the sausage 99% of the time. Somebody is going to look at you and say, hey, what is that? And you turn to them confidently and you say, the Jam Session Bowl, I thought you knew. You need to get it. And then they'll get it because it looks that good. And then after they put that meat on there, they pile that meat on there, then they say, hey, you want the works? And that's all that stuff you find on a loaded baked potato. Cheese, chives, bacon bits, sour cream, butter, all that good stuff. Then they ask you, you want to drizzle it with sauce? You want us to drench it with sauce? Either way is cool. I like to drizzle, not to drench, but either way is cool. I've had it both ways. It's fantastic. It is to live for. It is love in your mouth. Yeah, it's that good. It's that good. It's the Jam Session Bowl, Smoky John's Barbecue. You cannot go wrong. It's enough for 2 people easy. Got a little short, it is 5 or 6. I promise you the 3 of y'all can eat off of it. It is an amazing meal, and it is a meal that before you die, you need to try. Ooh, that rhyme. We may be saying that more often. Before you die, you need to try. I like that, So, Jam Session Bowl. Get you one. Why? It's delicious. Right, Joe? This is usually the time where he mutes his mic so he won't say something he ain't supposed to say to me while I talk about the deliciousness of Smoky John's Barbecue. Since Todd Archer took so much time, let's go to the block, Doc. Now, I've had a couple of conversations about this, and if I'm not mistaken, and please correct me if I'm wrong, you kind of poo-pooed the eclipse like it wasn't a big deal. Is that correct?
Nah, you just asked me about it.
Well,
as usual, your opinion is dead wrong.
I got the sense that you know what? I said, correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, I'm correcting your ass.
I got the sense that you didn't think it was a big deal.
I'm absolutely correcting your ass. You said, are you interested in the...
I said...
Go ahead. No, you go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I interrupted you. You go ahead.
No, it's your narrative. Go ahead.
No, I'm not trying to be a narrative. I'm trying to get to the truth.
No, I didn't poo-poo the eclipse. You said, are you interested in the eclipse? I said, no. It ain't like it's not a big deal. But anyway, I mean, you just...
know what, man?
Yeah.
I said, are you interested in it? And you said no. And then now you're acting like I said... That sounded like poo-poo, like you didn't care. Are you interested? No.
Okay. Go ahead with your eclipse story.
What did you like about the eclipse?
It happens once in a lifetime. It gets really dark and eerily dark, and I don't know. It's just different. I mean,
you go get some glasses and watch it.
You know, I got some glasses. I told you where to get some glasses.
Where'd you tell me?
Sonic.
Walmart.
Sonic.
Oh, okay. Man, they tried to charge me for them. I went up to Sonic.
I told you got to get the damn Frosty or whatever.
I didn't want that mess.
Okay, well.
I didn't want it in part because you told me. I'm not sure not. Didn't you tell me the drink wasn't no good?
I didn't like it, no.
Okay, well, I didn't want that. I tried to buy them.
They was $2. They was $2 or something. If you don't,
they wouldn't sell them to me without the drink, and I was like, I don't want the drink.
Okay.
I mean, I guess I could have got the drink and threw it away.
You could order them on Amazon.
They was gonna show up on that time, but I ended up getting them at where did we get them at? Walmart had them.
Yeah, I wasn't. It was when you asked me about the eclipse. I didn't. That wasn't on my mind. But once it started happening, and everybody running out in the streets and all of that other stuff. Yeah, I was out there too a little bit.
All right. Well, I found it fascinating because it hadn't happened in Dallas since, and we're talking about a total eclipse. I think we've had different variations of the eclipse over the last few years, but it hadn't been a total eclipse since, if I'm not mistaken, 1878. And the next one, total, is supposed to be 2137.
Yeah.
I ain't sure many of us going to be around in 2137.
Yeah, I had a friend of mine was telling me about, like you said, variations of the eclipse. He said he remembers it being in like 78, 79.
Yeah.
Standing on the porch watching that thing happen.
But it was really cool to me, man. And my granddaughter came down and checked it out. And we were on the roof of my building. Now, it's funny to me. I'm sitting here going, I said, hey, let's go check it out the roof. And I was like, okay, the sun and the moon is what, 240,000 miles away? Me going up 200 feet, do I really think it's going to be that much better view? But somehow it seemed like you need to get as close as you could to it. Hey, did you, and forgive me for sounding dumb, because I've never tried on a pair. Did you know the block-out glasses was that dark?
Yeah. I thought
you can't see anything.
Yeah, that's better. The darker, the better.
I had no idea. I mean, when they say don't use your sunglasses, there's a little bit of me that wants to go, what do you mean don't use sunglasses? That's what sunglasses are for.
But I knew they was dark because my wife was out there and she was like, hey, the eclipse is happening. Well, I popped them things on and ran over everything in my garage. I was like, damn. All right, then. So I had to, pull them things down and then pop them back up. And, yeah. I didn't get all it. I didn't go crazy like that. I mean, a lot of people was getting emotional. Hell, there was a man on one of the news stations talking about, man, the last time I talked about this, my mom was alive, and man, he was crying so hard, and hell, he had me choking up a little bit, and it was like, man, people got emotional, people got spiritual. I think I loaded up everything I got just in case aliens flew around the moon or something during the eclipse, And I had a friend of mine say, man, we didn't have not one human sacrifice this time. I was like,
that's pretty good right there.
All right, then. But, I was kind of waiting on an alien invasion or something.
I was on the rooftop with, I wasn't sure how many people would be up there, but I was on the rooftop. There's probably 25 people up there, maybe 30.
Yeah.
So it was a good number where it was enough people so you could kind of get a communal vibe, but not too many so that you was like, damn, there's nowhere to move. Mm-hmm. And you know me, I love soccer. I was sitting next to 3 people, 2 men and a woman. They all wearing Messi Argentina kits, jerseys. So I got to talk to them. And you know how I started the conversation. I said, did you see your boy score last night? Because he scored in like some ridiculously short amount of time for Miami. And they were like, yeah, we watched it. So then I had to see if they watched him when he came here. So we had a good conversation. I was being friendly, which Joe knows I'm typically not friendly. I'm trying to step outside my comfort zone. But I put them on, man, and so it was kind of cool to watch it go from just a sliver to a quarter to a half to 3/4. And then, you're trying to take pictures through your phone, through the glass without blinding yourself. And it was cool. And then, man, I don't know what I expected when they said it was going to blot out the sun. But I was like, that's a trap. And when it finally blotted it out, to see that black circle with the white ring around that, I looked at my granddad. I said, I see why people went crazy back in 2000, 2,000 years ago when they seeing this thing going. Oh my God, the world must be coming to an end because it's just a wild, spectacular sight, man. I was glad that I invested some time in it.
Yeah, you're going to be able to see it over and over again because people recorded it and all that, but to see it live, it was kind of cool. But like I said, it was to see it get that damn dark.
Yeah.
It was like, all right. That was darker than the darkest night,
It was a trip, man. And, I'm a historian by nature, so I took a lot of pictures, because for a while in downtown Dallas, it was weird. You had to put the glasses on to see it. Then a bunch of cloud cover came, so then you take the glasses off because it's cloudy. But then it was enough for you could still see it through the clouds without it bothering your eyes. And so I took a bunch of pictures like that because I thought that was kind of cool. And then man, when it got dark, I took some videos of just what the city looked like and a couple pictures because I was really trying to record it so I could look at it later to see, while I was trying to stay in the moment while preserving the moment all at the same time. It's a little difficult, but I think I managed to do it. But it was, and then I was on a group text with my dad and my brother and my sister and my stepmother. And so, they sending me shots from different parts of the country. So
right.
All of that was cool while we were just kind of talking about it and soaking it all in.
I belong to a couple of drone pages. I can't wait to see the.
I bet that was tight.
Well, I wasn't throwing my drones up because, frankly, I never flown during an eclipse. And you got these things called ND filters that let the light in for good pictures.
Yeah.
And I'm not really good at that yet. And
right.
I couldn't figure out which filter. And I thought, if I got to go through all that, I ain't tripping. Because I sure as hell didn't want to get it up in the GPS, do some crazy shit. And then it don't come back home, or you don't want to, you can't find it. There's a lot of things go into drone stuff, but the pictures will probably be outstanding. I'm gonna check the page today.
Yeah, and, I'd like to see. Send me some if you get some good ones.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is because you got guys that are really experts at that. And man, I guarantee you them pictures are good. Plus, like you say, the way the city is illuminated, the nighttime pictures from a drone is incredible. The horizon and stuff like that.
Yeah, matter of fact, I should have shown you a couple shots we took yesterday. It was all cool, man. It was a really cool experience, and I've been known in my life to poo-poo things like that, and not what's the word I'm looking for? Just be like, it's whatever. Like one of my disappointments in myself, personally, is that I spent much of my 20s and 30s and midway. I spent about 20 years traveling on somebody else's dime. Being the Dallas Morning News for most of that, ESPN for some of that. And I've been all over the country. And I would say so many times I didn't really explore the cities the way I should have explored the cities. And that's a disappointment to me. Like as many times as I went to New York once a year, I should know everything there is to know about New York City. Or Philly or DC because Cowboys are playing them every year. And so now the point I'm getting at is even though this was probably a once in a lifetime thing since I don't think I'm gonna be here in 2137, I was glad that I took some time, a couple hours out in the middle of the day to kind of really soak in the moment and enjoy it and have a full experience, because in the past I would have just poo-pooed it or maybe popped out or not gotten any glasses, so then I couldn't really do it the way I wanted to do it. So I was just glad I took it all in.
Yeah, a lot of times as a trucker, you become what we used to call an accidental tourist.
Yeah.
Where you look around. A lot of places I've been, I learned to soak it up, and get to different places, different people, and different food that you can get in different places. Right. I probably didn't do it the first 10 years I drove, but the next 15, hell yeah, enjoy it when you're out there. Like I've been to Atlanta about 100 times, but I ain't get to join Atlanta because I was working.
Right.
But I really didn't care about that. Some other places, are better. Some South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee, places like that. People, That's the one thing I miss about driving is the people and the places and the food.
Oh, I can see that. Speaking of food, don't judge me here. I had, I'm a former fat guy, but I still like all the stuff fat guys like. I just either don't have them or eat them in moderation. But dude, I saw something yesterday that I was like, this is what we're talking about, experiences. It has to do with food. And I was just like, I'm going to do this. What's your favorite junk food? I mean, class. Are you a chip guy, a cake guy, a pie guy, a cookie guy?
Golly.
I mean,
that's like being a little kid and saying, what's your favorite Hot Wheel?
Right.
I like them all. I don't know.
Okay, well, if you had to rank them for me,
yeah,
I would probably say I don't eat them as much, but cookies is probably my top. Followed, very, very closely behind by chips. Now, every woman I've ever dated has made fun of me for the way I eat chips. I don't take any pride in this per se. I am the bougiest chip eater you will ever find. And you're like, well, what does that mean? Okay, again, I'm asking y'all not to judge me. I don't like broken chips.
Yeah, you're a trip.
I like whole chips.
Wow.
They can be small, but I like them whole. I don't like them broken. So when you get to that last third of the bag, David, the content guy, is just cracking up. When you get to that last third of the bag and it's really nothing but broken chips, I throw it away. I don't want those. I told you from the jump I was bougie. But I found like
you working hard to be bougie.
No, it's just, I can't even tell you. It's not like I set out to be like this. There's something aesthetically pleasing about a full chip that I like, and there's something I don't like about a broken chip. Not to say I've never eaten a broken chip, because obviously I have as a former fat guy. But I saw something yesterday, man, and I was like, oh my God, I got to try this. And it's a cookie. And I've decided, I think we had this conversation once. I told you, and we just talked about it a little bit. At this point in my life, I've pretty much bought everything I've ever wanted. So when my kids or grandkids, hey, what do you want for Christmas? I'd just be like, give me some love. Like, I don't care. Whatever y'all want to buy me is fantastic. I don't need nothing. I don't want nothing. Whatever you want to bless me with is great. And they've come up with some good gifts like that. But dog, I sent them a group text yesterday. I already know what I want from Father's Day. You ain't got to think about it. Just get your money together. And dog, let me tell you what I did for him. I did this for him. I went and calculated what it would cost them each. I said it's going to cost y'all $37.24 a piece. The little man ain't got $37.24, so y'all gonna have to add an extra $11 to y'all. So it's gonna be about $48 a piece. You know what I want, man? Don't judge me, please. I'm asking. I won't judge you. You don't judge me. I saw this. I saw. Dog, I can't hardly get it out of my mouth. I saw these gourmet cookies on TikTok, and I went to the website to check it out to see what they were all about. 12 cookies made with the world's finest ingredients for $140. And I was like, I would never buy myself a $12 cookie, let alone a dozen of them. And they all different flavors and stuff. I said, but what a gift that would be. And you just sit down and just decide, hey, I'm going to enjoy this cookie. I'm going to make it an experience. And that's what I want for Father's Day, man. Yeah, I want these dozen cookies for $140, and I think they called the Crumb or something.
Yeah, probably get them cookies at HEB.
Stop, man! You ruined the experience.
$140 damn cookies, man. Whatever. You get the same shit at HEB for like $7.
Dog, stop. Now what we gonna do, man? Because I told him this is what I want for Father's Day. When these cookies come back, man, I'm gonna ask you what your favorite kind of cookie is. and whatever the closest one is, I'm gonna ride it out there.
Man,
and we go in and enjoy.
Hell no. I never
they
got.
Come in like a glass. They come in this
I'm not holding my breath. I'm not waiting
box.
on your ass to bring no cookie out here, dog. There's no damn Diddy. I ain't waiting on you to bring no cookie. You understand what I'm saying? I ain't get the jam session, bro. The hell with your cookie, dog. 140. Dog, enjoy them bougie ass cookies. I'm gonna go to HEB, get the $7 version, and I'm gonna make sure that I have that shit. Cause you ain't bring no jam session bowl. I had to go get my own Sam. Amen. If you're listening, he think I'm gonna fall for the okie doke again. It ain't gonna happen.
My dude was like, I sent him the commercial because the commercial was on TikTok. They got me. My dude was like, you got to wear white gloves when you eat them too? And I was like, yeah.
Yeah. I hear you. Enjoy it, man. Leave me out that shit. Enjoy it though.
Nah, so that's
give David a cookie. Yeah, David will take it.
I don't know. David's on this whole no sugar thing. I don't know if he's gonna rock with the cookies, but I mean, it's Father's Day. I mean, that's 2 months away. He could perhaps have a cookie on that day.
I don't know. You give a guy a cookie, that's your damn business. I'm not having nothing to do with that.
I didn't say
a little sugar between you and your boy, that's y'all business.
Man, I said a cookie, not the cookie.
A little sugar between you and your boy is y'all business.
You know what I mean? It's ridiculous, man.
Yeah.
But that's our trip to the block this week. I hope y'all enjoyed it.
Roger that.
Let's wrap up very quickly with the other part of college basketball. Women's college basketball, man. Did you enjoy the tournament?
Yes, I did.
What'd you like about it?
I like the fact that Caitlin Clark proved she was the real deal. I like the fact that they got all the pub this year. You know? And they had all type. They had freshmen, they had seniors, they had small girls, they had big girls. Audie Crooks at Iowa State, posting up everything in the world. Lisa Peely from Utah.
Damn.
I mean,
yeah, you did enjoy the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, these girls, you know, I mean, not only are they gorgeous, they can play, and they got personality, and we get to see all of that. You know, that's the cool thing about it. The more exposure that they get, the better it is. And I like, you know, there's a lot of hate going back and forth, and Caitlin Clark is the real deal for college basketball. You know, she's somewhere between Adam Morrison and Larry Bird. As far as, you know, college players that was all world, we'll see what she do at the next level, but she was all that. When you start shooting them from Steph Curry distance, and they got to pick you up the whole way. Yeah. You know, that's a compliment right there. And the adjustments Don Staley made was outstanding.
Well, you know, I think I understand it intellectually. It's still very frustrating for me, just the way the media covers the events. And you know, at a certain point, even though South Carolina won, it was still really all about Caitlin Clark in Iowa, and it should have been much more about, hey, they had an undefeated season, and you know, Caitlin had her run all up until that game, so there was no need to give her any extra run if they lost, which they did. And then when you talk about adjustments, you know, they had outscored their opponents by 37 points in the third quarter. South Carolina had during the tournament. And this game was decided really in the third quarter when they held Caitlin to one bucket, one three-pointer. And it was the best offensive team in the country, offensively efficient team, Iowa, versus the best defensive team, South Carolina. And we saw what happened when they turned the screws up on them. They owned the boards. They clamped down on defense. Caitlin was 8 for 20, 18 points in the first quarter, 12 in the last three. And they just did a tremendous job of Raven Johnson was leading the way of just slowing her down and making her work so hard for the points. And I think that just got when you control, not contain, but control. Actually, I guess it's not stop. But control a great player like Caitlin Clark, and then you win championship by double digits. I just thought that there should have been even more love on Don Staley and her staff and the players that did that, because nobody else had been able to do that.
Yeah, that's what you used to always say back in the day. We talked. You can't shut down a superstar you can contain them, but you can't shut them down.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, if we flip it and we talk about the Mavericks, when Luka is in that zone, you can't do nothing with Luka.
Yeah.
When Kyrie is doing that thing, when he scored 13 or 18 points in the fourth quarter against Houston, there was nothing you could do with Kyrie Irving. Nothing.
Well, the player that we was actually talking about back in the day was O.J. Mayo. When they was getting on his ass, and I was like, man, that's a superstar. He said, no, he good, but he not no superstar. You can't shut him. You know, too many teams was shutting him down, and coach gave him every chance to be good.
Right.
You know, showed him the tape. Watch the tape. They went off on O.J. O.J. was out of here.
Yeah, for sure. That's a name I had not thought of.
But that was me and your conversation. I believed the hype, and you was like, nah, man. If he was a superstar, you couldn't shut him down like he been getting shut down.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
That's the handle. You can't shut superstars down.
Yep.
And that's the difference between stars and superstars. Occasionally, you can shut a star down. But a superstar, nothing you can do with them. Nothing. Nothing at all. Just hope that they miss.
Yeah.
That's all you can do.
For sure.
And you can make their shots tough. But, ultimately, there's nothing you can do with them. They're that good, that great. So, women's basketball tournament was great. I was glad to see South Carolina win. Loved the show that Caitlin Clark put on. And I really hope, I love the women's game right now. It reminds me of women's tennis a few years ago when it was Venus, Serena, and the whole group of women who were going back and forth. You had rivalries, storylines. It's great. Hopefully they can keep it going and we can continue to have storylines in the women's game. And make it interesting because I watched every second of that game and I enjoyed it all.
Yeah.
I can't say that about the men's game last night. It was like watching paint dry for me. Even though Connecticut was great and they had a great year and won back-to-back, the game was just meh at best. But we appreciate you. Remember, go to the YouTube channel, The Real Jacques Talk. Subscribe, like, leave us a review, a rating. We appreciate it. Got some big things we'll probably start telling you about in a week or so coming up on the YouTube channel. That reminds me. We'll see if we'll have a show on Friday because we got to go out of town and do some work for the YouTube channel. See, that's called a tease that we'll let you know about. Follow us on IG at The Real Jacques Talk. Twitter, JJT Journalist. I am Jean-Jacques Taylor is the handle. Remember, if you think you follow me, you don't because my account was hijacked. And then, I'm asking all of y'all, go download Clapper. It's very similar to TikTok. I do a lot of videos over there, and I'm what's called a content creator over on Clapper. So I'm a lot more active, and I got a lot of things going on over there. So we appreciate you. We love you. No Diddy. And until we chat again, for Big Joe and the Big Rig, y'all be blessed.